I'm Kira, and these are my worst books of 2022. So to preface this, none of these are actually all that terrible because I generally just read books I enjoy. If I don't like them, I'm not going to finish them. Although that very rarely happens because I'll usually try to get to page like 100 and then at that point I'm committed. So I very rarely stop reading books entirely. Yeah, so with that in mind, I read books that I'm pretty sure I'm gonna like most of the time, so none of these are absolutely terrible. Yeah, so although that being said, there was one book this year that I started reading and I could not finish because it got so bad, and that is Empire of Storms by Sarah J Maas. So in 2021, I read the like early third of class books, and while the criticisms that lots of people have against Sarah J Maas and her writing, I could definitely see it. It annoyed me, but the plot was interesting enough that I could continue on. And I thought that would work for Empire of Storms as well. So I was reading it and I think I got to page 250 or something. Like I got quite a chunk into it, but it's a massive book. Like I don't know if it was 500 or 600 pages or more. And I was struggling so hard, so my boyfriend was like, I think you should just stop. And at first I was like, no, I'll read a bit more. And then he said it again and I was like, yeah, I think I will. Because there were just some lines that in the end I could not handle it anymore. It was mostly, so I was still interested in the plot. So I had my friend explain the plot to me and how it ended because I was interested in that part. It was just the whole like way she writes women and relationships and the whole concept of mates was just too much for me. So yeah, that was the worst book I read this year and I did not finish it. The second worst book I read was Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. I actually read the entire thing. I should have given up sooner, but I thought it might be better, but the zombies didn't really add much. So I would rather just read the regular Pride and Prejudice and have a better time. The next book is Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver. Just watch the movie. In the case of this one, the book, I think at the time it came out it might have been good, but now it just feels very dated. The references are dated, but also the way people are talking and stuff. Some of the stuff didn't feel entirely the way we would talk about with each other now, and it didn't feel some scenes made me a bit uncomfortable. I don't remember enough to have like concrete examples. I just remember thinking, this is not really it. One part was also that I think it was for a younger target audience, but overall it was just kind of, it fell flat, and also the characters, I hated all of them. They were terrible. They made bad choices and it just made me uncomfortable. So yeah. But the movie was pretty good, so I would recommend if you're interested in the storyline where basically she has a car accident and then she relives the day over and over and over again and tries to like improve her choices, live out the different possibilities. So the concept is really interesting, but I'd say just watch the movie. It's more fun, and yeah, the characters are better in that one. The next book on the list is The Age of AI. So factually, I listened to this as an audiobook, and factually I thought it was really interesting, but the writing style, it was intermeshed with like personal anecdotes and a lot of discussion on religion, and I understand that the personal anecdotes make it more digestible, which in one hand was good. Sometimes it did help me understand some of the concepts better, but it kind of did distract from the facts a bit. And then the comparisons with religion were not entirely necessary in my opinion for some of the facts. And I think it was more that I just wasn't expecting it to have such a Christian perspective. So I think that's more just something that one should be aware of before going into it. But otherwise, factually, I think it is a very interesting read. My book of my 5 worst reads is Notes on a Nervous Planet by Matt Haig. It's not terrible. Like, I still had a good time reading it, but a lot of it felt like BuzzFeed articles, or like it felt quite repetitive. And it was kind of like in a style like these are some like him doing some research on why we're so nervous, kind of what you can do about it. In some ways it was helpful, but it also just kind of felt like, yo, you're compiling your own thoughts a bit too much there. Yeah, so I don't know if I would want to read that one again. So those are my worst books of 2022. Although there is one book that did not make the list because I just cannot tell if I hated it or am extremely intrigued by it, and that is Milk Fed by Melissa Broder, because I did not have the best time reading it because it was just so weird, but I couldn't stop reading it because it was so weird. So that one, I don't think it's the worst book, but it's definitely the strangest book, and I'm still sorting out my feelings on that one. Yeah, that was it. Thank you for watching. Bye.